So there's this game that has been on Steam for 11 years, and the whole time the developers have just kept updating it for free, and substantial stuff. New biomes, overhauled systems, new classes, all of that. The game got one of the biggest updates in its entire history just last year, and there's another massive one coming this year too. And of course, the reason we're here today is because this sucker costs €2 on Steam at this price tag. It really is a no-brainer. Let me explain why. Barony is a first-person dungeon crawler roguelike, where you're basically just trying to descend as deep as you can, floor by floor, until you either reach the end or get killed along the way, which happens a lot, especially when you're new to it. The game does not have any quest markers, no tutorial holding your hand through anything. You pick up items without knowing what they do, put on a cloak that turns out to be cursed, walk into a boulder trap you didn't see coming. It's that kind of game. You just figure stuff out gradually, by screwing up and trying again. So what really makes it stand out is that it's slower and more deliberate than many other roguelikes. You're managing your hunger, watching your item durability, trying to figure out if that ring you just picked up is going to curse you or not. There are tons of classes and races to pick from, and the whole thing supports up to 4-player co-op, either online or split screen. It's worth mentioning that this is a real roguelike. There's no permanent progression here. Practically nothing carries over between runs. What actually builds up over time is just your own knowledge of how the game works, what certain items do, where traps tend to show up. The dungeon starts feeling less overwhelming once you've put some hours in. That last edition was probably the first massive turning point. That's what actually made the game three-dimensional, adding verticality, sloped ceilings, multi-level rooms, ridges and deep pits. But that same update also introduced the entire tinkering system, where you can craft traps and mechanical stuff, a full alchemy system, and also new classes, as well as new biomes in the swamp and the labyrinth, totally for free. The Quality of Death update was the update that changed how the game physically played. This is where full gamepad and Steam Deck support, a completely new user interface, a visible XP bar, and customizable hotbars came in. It also structurally completely overhauled the ruins, and the Keep Your Secrets update added the Compendium, which is basically an in-game encyclopedia that fills in as you discover things. It also added new enemy types, like the gnome thieves, bugbears, bats, and slimes. So the version 5.0 update dropped in January 2026, and it's pretty substantial. The biggest change is that magic got completely rebuilt. Before this, there was basically just one real magic skill, and now there are 3 separate schools: sorcery, thaumaturgy, and mysticism. Sorcery is your direct attack spells, scales on intelligence. Thaumaturgy is more about healing and buffing people, and mysticism is the weird one, stuff like controlling minds, corrupting enemies from the inside, physically changing objects in the dungeon. They also added around 80 new spells, so a healer and a wizard are genuinely doing totally different things now, instead of just pulling from the same pool. The classes themselves also got some meaningful differences too. For example, tanks gain HP way faster than the other builds, casters have a lot more MP to work with, and stats like perception and charisma now actually do stuff. They also added cooking, which sounds random, but it's pretty useful. You find cauldrons in dungeons, throw food in, and you can basically consolidate everything into rations that stack together, including stuff that would have been too moldy to eat otherwise. You can also mix rations with potions for little buffs, or combine them with water to make this gross throwable slop that blinds enemies. The treasure rooms are new too. You find a locked door, peek through the grate to see what's inside, and then somewhere else on the same floor, there's a key hidden in a chest or on a table. The higher tier rooms have better loot, but the security gets harder. The Deserters and Disciples DLC came out pretty much at the same time as all this, which adds yet another 5 new races, each with their own class. And the game is still not done. Part 2 of Instruments of Destruction is coming as another free update, and they just put out a dev diary. This one is adding 2 brand new biomes, both set in the realm of the Eternals, the Ancient Fortress and the Eternals Keep. On top of that, there are 10 new secret levels spread across both the new eras and some of the older biomes. Now of course, this game also has paid DLCs, but the base game right now is €2, 90% off, and the majority of stuff you just heard is completely free, and it's not even nearly all of it. So if you're at all into dungeon crawlers, or you're not sure yet, where the whole point is learning the game itself, with basically no safety net, then Barony at €2 is a pretty easy recommendation. The pretty tough difficulty will absolutely put some people off early, and the lack of any real meta progression is a real thing that not everyone enjoys. But this is basically almost a free look at something that a small team has been building up for a decade.